yeah, thank you for joining me again. We talk a little bit about user-centered design and usability. And what are the origins of user-centered design? And maybe I should start the slideshow. So yeah, the origins of user-centered design are situations like this. Because this is not user-centered design. And out of the Second World War, also already out of the First World War, there was really this movement that people said, okay, we need to do something about dashboards and we need to adapt it to the pilots in a plane and not vice versa, the pilots have to adapt to the dashboard in a plane. So there were already the first usability discussions. And in the past, if you look at these different possibilities, it was normally like interface design was system-centric. It had to have a purpose and was only concerned with the technical capabilities, but not how the users would deal with it. So users had to adapt to the technology and not vice versa. The focus was always on training users instead of making something intuitive. So system-centered design, I really like this cartoon. The project status is yellow light. In user tests, we found that the product locks up every 12 seconds. The interface is incomprehensible and the manual is poor fiction. I think it's clear what we need to do. Ship it and hope somebody writes a dummy book about it. So that was a little bit the system-centric approach. So where's the view of the user? How to integrate the users? And a person, yeah, the system-centric view, the person has to adapt to the system. But that's not how we would like to have it. And the famous example is Doug Engelbert. So this time I don't blank on the name, the last time I blanked on the name. Famous example and I blank on the name. So he invented the first, let's say like a mouse and a really nice keyboard in a way that you can work with this computer, but it still needed so much training that it was not used. Even so, he had really the first mouse was by Doug Engelbert. So we need to shift from the system-centered design to a user-centered design to really adapt to the user. And the first rule is to get to know your users. What do they really see in the user interface? What do they see when they open up your research software or your gateway? And you are yourself not your user. You have a different view if you are the creator of something. And if you think you know your users, think again about it. So that is the next really also, yeah, let's say hint. And so the first trap is also like to get too much into what you think what a user wants. Like here, it took a lot of work, but this latest Linux patch enabled support for machines with 4096 CPUs, up from the old limit of 1024. And then the question, do you have support for smooth full-screen flash video yet? No, but who uses that? Yeah, maybe your user. Maybe your user wants the flash, the video flash. And so the view of the user is really important, and it's mostly the wrong assumption that your user is just like you, if you're the creator of the software. So there are different dimensions for usability. There's learnability. So how easy is it really for the user to accomplish a basic task the first time they see your gateway, the first time they see your website? The basic task to find something. So how fast can they do something? How, when they have learned how your gateway, your website works, how quickly can they perform a task? So how is it when they come back after a year, they haven't used it, and then they would like to do something again? That's the memorability. How much do they have to learn again to be good in using your gateway? Or errors. So there's this really also psychological factor of how fast can they recover. There's nothing wrong about making errors. And also not that users making errors, but how fast can they recover from it? If they see, oh, it doesn't work like I thought, how do I, get along now on the gateway and get the results I want? And how satisfied they are. I mean, nowadays, also in academia, 20 years ago, yes, in academia, it had to be effective and efficient, the software. Nowadays, users know a lot themselves about usability. They work a lot with their smartphones, or they just have experience with interacting with machines. So how pleasant is it for them to use the design of the software you offer? So there are some examples. This, for example, is a nice cloud management platform for partners, and you can see directly it's clean. It's a clean design. You have these different topics. Everyone knows where to click directly, and you have a menu on the top. There's not much, or there's not too much information on the first site. You just can go through this design and see. And it's cloud management for partners. Yeah. What do you want? You want a marketplace? Or you might be a developer, or you want to manage something. So it's quite easy. Or there was six lessons learned from establishing a usability practice at a startup. So this was published by Becca Seller. And she was like, she learned, start earlier than you think with usability. And not when you have an accomplished product. Start from the beginning thinking about usability. Don't worry about credentials. Credentials in this regard, your credentials that you might think, oh, I'm not a usability expert or a user experience expert. Yes, but you can sit down with your users and let them test 10 minutes, maybe, your gateway, and drink a cup of coffee with them while they're looking or trying a task you give them. Start small, start cheap. I mean, usability testing, of course you can have this huge usability test with, camera on the screen and reaction measuring and reporting. It doesn't have to be like this from the beginning. You can do something like that is always beneficial, but it doesn't have to be this huge amount of work behind the usability testing. Don't overdo the reporting. I mean, we are all busy. Yes, you want to the reports, but if you overdo the reporting, then you almost can see that you won't do it for a long time if you have to put too much work into the usability testing. And show your software, your gateway, your portal to people. Don't tell them about the software. Show it to them and let them do something. And try to sell the product to reach the community. That is the usability lessons learned from a startup. And this is another platform which is also very very clean, very obvious. And what they did, so they had a case study avoiding the pitfalls of survivorship bias. And the findings were they had really from their customers like 20 plus pages of notes of valuable, insightful feedback. And all from their target audience. So directly from users on their website. And if there's any other activity that gets you, this much valuable information for equal effort and cost. So they just asked for feedback on the usability of the platform. And got directly this feedback. So for a startup team, it's like gained by watching and hearing a potential user walk through your site or product for the first time is invaluable. You can have the best intentions. The first one who looks at it, who's not the creator, will react different on the design. That's the way it is. We cannot. That will be always the way it is. And these are real issues. So that affects your site upgrades for your gateway, and there's nowhere to learn about usability about your product more than doing really the usability tests with someone from the community. So measurable results was in this study after they gave it to their users or asked them for feedback. They had minus 30% overall bounce rate. That means the bounce rate is if someone ends up from Google or so, directly on your website and leaves directly again, or on your gateway. Or that minus 17% exit rate from the pricing page, which is cool for them, because not everyone is, 70% were less afraid of the prices now. And plus 30% average time spent on the features page. So people are interested what the company really has to offer. And this is a measurable, really impressive result out of one usability test. So the business of user experience strategy is really, it has become almost impossible for a new product to succeed commercially without a competent user experience wherever there are competitive alternatives. And that is something that this is nowadays very true. Efficient and effective is of course still so important that the software does what it should be, that it should do it efficiently. But if it doesn't do it nicely for the user, products have a problem nowadays. So the takeaway is usability impacts success and the sustainability of your gateway. And now we do a usability testing. And since we have 3 people in the room who have seen it already, I use you two as volunteers. I volunteer you, sorry. And I would like you to go first outside, so that you don't see what she's doing. And I would ask you not to look through the glass. I get you in 5 minutes. Oh, shut up. No, we are doing now as if it would be bird watchers, and you come with me. Okay. No, it's really fun. It's really fun. There's nothing. It's a usability test. There's nothing. You can just test it and so this is the eBird site, and what I want you to find on the site is how often net and sparrow around Chicago, what is the time that I can see the bird the most often?
When you can see the most sparrows?
Net and sparrow.
Nesting sparrows.
Nelson.
Oh, okay, so it's the type.
It's around Chicago, and you are not allowed to use Google.
So it would only be on this website?
Only on this website.
Okay. So Nelson.
Yeah, choose the first one. The first one is good.
Here, choose it. Oh, I see. Okay. And you said nesting time?
No, but do I see the most of the time, not nesting time. Nelson sparrows around
Okay.
Chicago. Around Chicago.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. Honestly, none of the other 3 ones found it.
Oh.
Yes, cool.
You don't need common sense in websites, Amy.
Yeah, I wanted to say, you just go through it. Okay. So, for the learn effect now, I hope that he has a few more problems.
Yeah.
Because otherwise the learning effect is not there.
Okay.
Amy's a ringer.
So, thank you for volunteering. So I will you know, we are bird watchers now. And the idea is, I give you a task to find something on the website. You are not allowed to use Google, only the website. And
It was quick.
yeah, she was.
Definitely wasn't 5 minutes yet.
No, I know. But don't be concerned because she was quick, yeah. But the 3 people before that all needed more than the 5 minutes. So this was them.
Okay.
So your exercise is now to find when the Nelson sparrow. When can I see the Nelson sparrow the most often around Chicago? Nelson sparrow.
Sparrow around Chicago.
Nelson sparrow around Chicago.
I have no idea. All right. Sorry, I didn't know the name of it. What kind of sparrow?
Yes. No, sure. No, sorry. I'm only so laughing. You both are the only ones who found it under a minute.
Okay, so that's it? If I
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, hopefully this is like kind of our job to help people find things, and hopefully we're good at this. So, okay, so I didn't catch the first part of the sparrow though.
Nelson.
Okay, but if I typed it in, that
Yeah,
would be
you
okay.
can still type it in, so that we have the minute more.
So we had 3 people on the last
Yeah.
workshop, and they started at the top and did searches, and you only can find it in this bottom.
Okay.
Yes. So.
And finish it, you gotta put Chicago.
Oh, well, I know where Chicago is.
And it was nice to hear that the library, people in the library
that's
can
great,
find
right?
things.
You guys
No.
can use that as an advertisement.
No, I really enjoy this now. I do this exercise also, I think the 4th time that or the 5th time with this website, I do this exercise. You are the first 2 people in one session who find it directly. I had always the effect that, normally I have 3 volunteers, but since the 3 have seen the last session already, and there's nothing bad, but then I can explain that everyone thinks differently, how to find
We
things.
should say that we both have geography and GIS experience, so we're very probably comfortable in map settings than looking at a tabular
Yeah.
format. So at least for me, I'm much happier looking at the visual interface of a map than a text. So that's personally maybe why I chose that over another option.
But also, I mean, it was finding this page was the
Yeah.
challenge, right? So, I mean, I went all the way down to the bottom where it says species map, and you actually clicked on explore. So
Yeah.
we did it 2 different ways to come to this, right?
Yes, yes.
So,
Yeah, I know, but only so to explain. So since I say this, I want to know when the Nelson sparrow was seen the most. One of the candidates in the last session went to news because she thought like, oh, maybe it's in the news. That it's mostly seen, that. Or another one was just staying in the menu on the top, because the impression often is, if you have a menu at the top, everything is also in the menu at the top. But you don't have to scroll to something else, but it's not in the menu at the top. So and the 3rd one, she just got lost because she clicked something on the side, and then she got a little bit lost. But I always break it up after 5 minutes because it's otherwise frustrating. People think about how to deal with this thing and in front of audience, and so I break it then up. Therefore, I have to laugh. The second one was like that. No learn effect here. Everything's fantastic about this website.
So do that for the UC website. Go to the uc.edu website and try to find something.
oh man.
So we do this now, and I do it then, and you give me a task to find something. Okay.
Okay. Go to the main website, www.uc.edu.
Yeah. No, almost. Yes.
And say you're going to the UC website and you've heard about UCIT research and development, and you want to find their their page on the site.
Okay, so what I would first always scroll through after the experience I made with a lot of websites. Use at a glance, okay, maps. So I would probably go not for the personal directory because I would be no, canopy no. Let's see, major undergraduates, the different colleges. Now that these are the colleges, so probably the IT is not part of the colleges but of the administration, so I go back up. Then I would go for the menu. And then I would think, okay, there's something like research. Let's have a look there. Research, do I find heavyweight? No, there's nothing with Office of Research. And now you want me to find the Office of Research IT?
Yeah, you see IT research and development.
Okay. See IT Research Development. Office of External Limited Submission? No, that's not it. So I've heard about, but this would be now the Google I would use, I think, as the next one. So I should find it without using Google, okay. Without the search. Development and support. Support offices. It could be a support office, or? So IT research support offices. IT research support. No, it's not here. Okay. So, fact and figures, no. Events, funding, no. IT doesn't sound like that. It's funding. Leadership. So, yeah, I see a different research office people, but also not IT support. No IT support. Okay, without using now the search options, I would give up, to be honest. But let me.
No, I guess there's actually 3 different things you can end up to if you just do research at the University of Cincinnati. The Office of Research is the one that at the university level, kind of the coordinating entity. To find us, you're gonna have to drill down into IT. So, and IT department isn't really easy to find from the main menu because it's focused on academics.
Ah, okay. So I have to go to the IT first. So that would be, if I go back, and not under research at all, but under, so where do I have to go from here when I'm on the,
I think you have to search it.
Yeah, that's.
You can't find it without searching.
You can't find it without searching.
I really,
It's like an
okay, I don't really have to say something about usability in that regard.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing too, is since we have different things that are called research or research and development, it would be nice if somewhere on each page it said if you're not looking for this, here are the other research oriented parts that you see.
I mean, okay, user behavior is, in general, nowadays, I gave now the task not to search. People normally are easily, if they don't find it, let's say in 3 seconds on a website, they just search on it. Because they're so used with, Googling for something, they do it, but it's still not a good design. I mean, it's still better when you have really an entry point and people can see it, because if they don't know about the department, then it's bad that they cannot find it. For example, also for new faculty. If they're looking around for services and they don't see the services, then I don't know whether has faculty different pages also for support or something?
You can get to it from UCWD though. It's just completely unintuitive and insane.
Okay. Okay. So, yeah, this is in principle like the usability test, and yes, our first two not even took a minute, but I can only say, yeah, take a colleague if you create something and let them do a couple of tasks you think that your users would do. And also take maybe a user and just tell them, okay, what would you do, without giving them a task, because when it's one of your target community, they know what they want to do. They want it, you know, they wanted this product, so that would be something. And it has in 10 minutes and 50 minutes, it's not much work. I know it's, as I said, we all have always a lot of work to do, but it's really worth it before it goes out to a big community. Before, yeah, when you create something new. But also in between, if you get, some products are just growing. That means, you know, so you have maybe something for 2 years and users are used to it, and of course they don't like it when you change too much because they're used to it, how it is. But to have in between something that makes it easier, if it makes it easier and is intuitive and maybe with email to the user base before, they're all happy with it. I mean, a change is always first with the user interface people. You will have always users who are annoyed about that. Because they didn't know how to deal with it and now it's changed. That is not what they like to do, but maybe we go now back to. So there are really usability testing. There are many methods. Let me do the slideshow. And it doesn't have to be complicated, as you have seen. I mean, this was now really. I'm really a little bit sad for you girls that you didn't have that effect like in the last session. But on the other hand, yes. So probably you get along with any website, so that's also good to know. You can find things. And you can really do it also yourself, but always also remember that you are as a creator, not the user. Yes, you should go through it. So I had a case, for example, somebody asked me to do a usability test with this website, or with this gateway, not website, gateway. And he said that, oh, and you know, it would be great if you sign up for my newsletter. And I went through it, and I was like, I cannot sign up. You didn't put up the URL where I can sign up. And he was like, oh shit. He wanted to do it, he just forgot about to, you know, make it publicly available. So, and this is of course, this was a small mistake, but, you know, just since he didn't tested it again. And you should test regularly during your own development, and not only at the end. That makes also a lot of sense, because you are probably developing solutions over months. And only doing it at the end might change a lot in your user interface if you're not, you know, considering it from the beginning. So yeah, no, we did already try. So a usability test script could be that you give users like a really big script, what tasks you would like to do them. So that they are willing to give, you know, feedback, and you could have the permission to record things. But as I said, you can make it also like this little thing, how we did it here. And you can have a screen recorder and all these things. You can do usability testing really on a very professional level, but this costs more preparation. And it depends what you want to achieve. It could be good, maybe really in between, to have very professional usability testing, but also the smaller tests are already very helpful. And usability testing for everyone is really, this would be a next exercise. I only don't know. So I want you to pair up with another person, but we have probably here 2 groups. And have a task you normally perform on a website, on a gateway. What you, if you have your own website gateway, that would be something. Do you have a gateway?
Well, we could, I guess, would our repository be considered a gateway?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So the repository.
Yeah.
So maybe since you are both from the library, I would ask you not you both to team up because you probably know the repository very well. So I would like you both maybe teaming up.
Yeah.
You can use. Yes,
I have my laptop here.
You have your laptop also. And the idea is really, you ask Rosanne to perform a task on the repository and have a look how she's going through it. Because you know the intended way, how you expect the user to go through it. You only give her a task, not the way to do it.
Okay.
Only to see her working on it. So that's the idea.
Okay.
Okay.
And then you switch. You will be in both roles. So can you three or team up? Or you two
Over there.
Sure.
So that is the thing, and the roles will be switched. So is there something you would use on a daily basis or offer like the repository or something to users?
Me, not so much. Not my own.
Can you find
Use the
some
repositories.
posters?
I actually don't have a whole lot of familiarity with it, but I can figure something out.
So something you would tell your users to use, for example, or whether it's an open science framework, for example, and give one of you both the task to do something there.
Okay.
And you can log in with your credentials only that there are no hurdles about the login. And you just
I think
observe
something that doesn't
how
require
someone else is doing the same task you would do in the system. That's the idea, to understand that there's different logic
I
going
have
on.
to figure out something. I'm more of a
I know.
computer analyst person.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, most of my tasks are going to be like, but how about something on GitHub? I use GitHub all the time.
Oh, GitHub.
Yeah.
That's great. Let's do something with
Okay.
GitHub.
Okay.
So you give Amy a task, or
Yeah, and
Right,
I've
so-
never used it.
Good.
good. That's the idea. So, and then we switch the roles.
Okay.
So that
Takes a
you
little
can
while.
try
So are you,
something.
well,
So the
I don't even
idea.
know how to do it. I don't know how to do it without searching the search bar.
So oh no, you can let her search in the search bar. That is
let me
the
see.
You have to give me
usability.
a task.
Yeah, I was just trying to like mimic something with like the birds. I don't know. That's not really.
Right.
No, this is not searching was only that I didn't want people to put directly the name and Chicago in the
Yeah.
search bar and then it's there, you know. That was more. No, you can use this. You can do everything how it's intended to be used.
Okay. It's just not very exciting. All right. How about this? I'll make it a little bit more specific. So I have a data set called Tidy Tuesday, and I want you to find your favorite example of the actual data set on my GitHub.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
That sounds good. So one of you,
Okay.
Amy or Brett,
So
one
my last
of you
name
is
is
now
Johansson. So you
Tidy
probably
Tuesday, Johansson,
yeah.
GitHub.
Sure. Yeah. It's not very super specific, but I'm just curious to see. So my guess is it's not just the search bar.
Yeah.
Because I was originally just gonna find my profile, but that's really easy, so.
I'm on GitHub.
Right. So you need to find my repository called Tidy
Can I
Tuesday.
find it if I'm not signed in?
Yeah.
Sometimes it will engage by a lot of them.
I'm not sure if I find
So I realized we don't have technically a facet called poster. So I said,
It's
could you
just
find a
let's,
poster?
sort by
It's
username.
gonna be dependent on the way they create the file.
I'm not sure if I'm supposed to help or not at all.
Okay.
I don't think so, right?
No.
Yeah.
Nice to realize, huh?
I mean, I don't have any control, I mean, so the repository is, there are developers in the library, but I'm not one of them. I just give them feedback. But we did usability testing when we first rolled out the repository and had people do things.
I don't think this is a
And,
very user-friendly website.
Poster was
No,
not
it's
a
not.
facet that was ever
Well, this actually turned out to be
included.
pretty good, didn't it?
But,
It's tricky,
I mean, I've submitted
especially because I
couple
picked one.
posters.
This is a very
So
common
almost
name
The way to
because
find
it's
it, you have to do this.
it's a weekly challenge, so probably many people
So-
participate.
But it's also not a problem to.
I just spell your last name.
Unmatched
J-O-H
also it-
A-N-S-E-N.
It tends to be that way.
You unmatched JN.
No.
You know what I
Because
mean?
that's
Yeah,
like
but I
Johannes.
think, it's interesting for people to wanna find something
Yeah.
that maybe it would be.
Yeah,
a facet.
it's looking for the specific username too, which is a problem, because you're probably not just your last name.
But they really have to have it on.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm not sure if I'm not gonna give you any hints yet. I'll give you a minute or so.
Or it's something that's searchable, because all the text is searchable, so if you put it in as a searchable, comment, then.
Uh-oh.
But I also noticed, like, so
Got
when you
it.
go to sites where people put posters in as JPEGs.
I am a
So,
research coordinator or
there was
whatever,
images.
so I can find
Yeah.
people who think they're not listed
But,
anywhere.
Well, I mean, if you.
But you didn't come up in the Tidy Tuesday
Yeah,
repository.
when I
Like,
first
it
picked that
wasn't.
one, so if I give you another one, I will probably be the only person. But that one was a good example, and I
Yeah.
didn't realize that because many other people are
And it
using
doesn't
it.
show up in the.
Yeah, and I'm probably not a very popular version of it. You found it. So yeah, I think just searching me first would be easier
Yeah.
because I'm not a popular GitHub person.
There are so
Because
many
you have
of these
your name.
images in these.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's my initials and my last name, so
Your name was like,
I think they
Right.
I think it would still come up. I think it would still come up because I have it as my profile. But yeah, that's
So.
but based on all of that.
for that one because that's not really real. But I don't know. It's been kind of a cool
Here's some,
project.
like,
Clone or
this
download.
collection.
Well, cool. That actually worked out
Yeah.
pretty well.
All right, I would give you something.
All right. Get set.
Let's see, I mean, I think that
How many, so there are like 2,000.
the Brutz example was a winner.
Yeah, that one
Items.
sounds scary. Not using the
So if
search
you're
bar.
looking for posters,
Anything
you
on
have to
you see
make sure
website.
you
You
see
see
all
how
those
you-
items.
Yeah.
That's the hard part.
And then see if
Because
you
otherwise
can
it
find.
gets too many again, yeah.
Yeah, so like, and for me, I wanted to, this is another one.
The UCFTRD, because I actually set it.
If I.
Without using the search bar.
That was in the search bar.
Data sets in the repository.
To be fair,
This is another one where it's.
I'm
I
trying,
so
I'm
easy
trying to
to
do
find
it too,
everything.
okay? I'm
Yeah.
also right now doing a test.
which I thought her example was great because I didn't naturally go for the search bar. I didn't really
They're only a
use
data
it.
set
Don't
as
use
a
Google like
collective.
Google.com.
But
So I
some
probably
people
would have
use
put the
the
search bar.
repository in ways that I would.
But it's actually super
Yeah.
intuitive. Yeah, I don't use
So it makes it very messy.
Absolutely. So do you have something you would vice versa ask her to do?
Doesn't have to be on this site though, right?
No,
Maybe.
tell me something you are normally working with. So what
You can
are
use the search
sites?
bars in the site.
Just not the main one.
Your daily work.
I'm
My daily
also
work is
not
actually
successfully doing it right now, so. I'm going through the IT
So
help.
then I have
time.
Okay.
What was the name of the specific page?
Oh, UCI.
You find everything. So let's go to the science gateway website.
Oh, no, that's what you meant.
Because we did also usability testing and we have usability
IT
specialists
at UC
in the,
and then research and development is,
and I still think that
I'm trying to
to do a really fantastic job on that.
Yeah, the word
Not
research,
bad.
I
So if you would like to apply for the
the library, because it's not what I thought
services,
of traditional research.
So
it's
it's
actually,
actually-
if you just do the search bar on UC, search magnifier.
Oh, at the very front?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we weren't using that.
That's kind of cheap.
Yeah, I
No,
thought
but you can use that in a main page.
So
You just-
extended the,
you just
so
can't
is
go
that what
with
this
Google.
is?
Well, so that's the most efficient way. I don't know
But
if
you
there's
have
a back way.
but you have to know exactly what you're looking for. You're never gonna
Yes.
stumble upon, it, which is what we try to
Right.
create a way to.
Correct.
So you can fall upon our resources if you're, let's say, on the main library page, which is very difficult for us to get to like the Viz Lab little page.
Right.
Unless you know what you're looking for. And I guess the same for you.
Maybe
It's
that's
very
only
difficult.
with me, maybe I'm too impatient.
It would have been nice if, I mean, maybe it's
No
here,
presence on
but
the front page.
Yeah, you can also, yeah.
custom development
Oh.
plans, so we have to go down here and
Yeah.
there's the form.
Yeah.
So that's 2 clicks.
I think
Well,
that
and
that's really okay,
what's
but
weird
from
right
the
now
bottom,
is they're redoing, you know, all of the website stuff, so I keep kind of coming over to the new page. And
Yeah.
The problem is with the UC
Is it like the
webpage,
app looking one?
you have to get to that huge picture at the
Yeah.
beginning, so I've always just gone to the bottom of the website.
That's the
and
2
worked
minutes.
backwards.
Not this
Because I
one.
just find that, you know,
Oh, the
like,
IT one.
if I want
Oh,
to
okay.
contact.
Yeah, that's not-
people,
Team dynamics.
all I have
If you
to
go
do
just
is
into
just
support,
bot,
then you get the Team
Yeah.
Dynamics, which
so I
is how
have-
you ask
know,
for
that's
help.
kind of-
So it doesn't, it's not our real,
backwards, but I've started
real
to do
page.
that, I think. So that's why I would go there first.
I mean, that,
Yeah,
that's
research.
really also a little bit how it works
Easy to
normally
do.
because of the
Yeah.
scrolling.
Yes.
But that's kind of
but
a problem, right?
most people don't pay their research and development with any kind of IC or
And
UCIT,
also,
so they end up,
you know, you probably
cheating.
think differently than.
Which you think, oh, I kind of, it's the opposite of research.
Research about that.
And so it'd be nice if somewhere on that page they said, oh, if you need
Because of smartphones and
the
everything.
IT
So-
research and development.
So for me, I think, personally,
Yeah. Which I
think we might
I
even do in our
prefer
page.
to have,
Might even say.
let's say, the most 2 clicks, but then it's all on the top,
Other research.
that I can see it directly. Most people are surprised to this anyway. It's
Mm.
really interesting.
I've been well trained by my phone.
No, but,
Someone was
by the
explaining what a
website, no, I
GPU was.
know.
I just thought for myself for a second.
So,
I know what they're used for, but I have no idea what they actually
can I
are.
make you
That's
sign
kind of
up for
funny.
the newsletter?
I mean, gaming and, you know, high-end graphics, but, you know, I know what the acronym is, but beyond that, I'm like, I have no idea.
Yeah, here's the, some of our subjects with this, not what you're looking for. and
That's nice.
Office of Research, Research Director.
Yeah, if they did that back for you, that would be great. You know,
Thank
and
you.
we think about trying to build that into the library's webpage too, is this kind of constant moving back around, because you get, you know, down a rabbit hole. And then you just close out the.
Yeah, it's just so many, dead links on UC.edu. And that was the problem we had at GE, is they had years worth, on the internet, they had years worth of, someone would come in, they'd do a project, they would stick it where they wanted to stick it on the internet, and when they left, there was no one to develop it, so you click on something, and you think, oh, I need some greenbelt training. You find a page about greenbelt training, you go, oh, I'm where I need to be, but then you look, that was last updated 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, I hope this isn't the most recent page on training. But there's no one whose job it was to go through and, crap it
So,
off.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's not really that much for the
It's a lot.
Science Gateway Institute, but yeah, maybe I'm
Might
sorry.
see.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, I
Yeah, see, all the
applied
stuff
to
that we're
the
doing on our
UC
website,
website, and I think Brett's
She's gonna do that.
exercise was very telling.
Makes sense.
That someone with a lot of skill in user design didn't understand the design of the website.
I
Or
guess it's
it wasn't clear what you needed to do to get from the
Except for if I would have used directly the search bar.
Like you said, that the huge picture is very overwhelming.
I think they give it
So it's
far
jet
too
stream,
much real estate.
atmospheres and
Yeah.
jet
And
stream.
you really
No,
do.
the atmosphere is
Scroll past
actually
it and then
a
figure out
product,
where's the information.
Whereas
The science game
menu
is,
bar,
Yeah.
But I think the internal users
I
are
forget who
are
develops it,
already.
but it's a way of doing virtual machines. It's a jet
I mean,
stream
that is also
is
okay, but there
project
should be at least for
uses
internal
atmosphere
users something
to
like
manage its virtual
the
machine.
extra category when they can, come over the first site and then.
But yeah, you
have
think,
their
jet stream
own
and atmosphere, the
tree of
air
options.
currents.
It doesn't have
It
to
must
be
be
big,
really
but
good, is it?
gives them the
It's
chance.
either coincidence or they
you
deliberately
know.
chose jet stream to go
Or
with.
maybe something like in the internal side, but not,
Well,
like it's
Docker
not
and
almost impossible to find something.
Erosion
That is
Docker.
never a good option.
They all seem to be somewhat related.
Yeah, and Docker's
So-
icons are whales.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So how's it going here?
We were semi-successful.
Yeah.
So,
The search bar works fine in UC's website, but none of us could find a way to get to what they give you
Yeah.
tasked with, and everything into the party. So that's not great.
Yeah, and if there's a little wrench icon at the top of the main page, if you go to that, it gets you, and you click on IT,
Oh.
IT help, it gets you into the team dynamics,
okay.
which is the way to request help. And you'll find research and development in there, but it's not our main page. It's how to get help if you know.
Send
You
an
know what's
email
in it.
about getting help to find a website.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where is your web page?
Oh, that's great. So yeah, so yeah, I mean, from these usability testing, what was your impression in general about the website, the repository you tested? Should there be more usability testing? Is it okay? I mean, your feedback was already on the UC website that was almost an impossible task.
What was interesting is when I gave them to search on GitHub for my own information, it's a repository that's a very common name, so searching didn't necessarily help. So you had to actually dive a little deeper than just the search bar, which I guess turned out to be a pretty good task. So yeah, it's not, you can't just rely on the search bar. Like, that would be my feedback.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, it helps often, but therefore, if you just rely always on the search bar, it's not good for the usability, not good for the users behind there. Yeah. So you made the experience with the repository and the posters.
Yeah, I think usability is very important because people don't remember URLs. So usability is very important. You
Yeah.
just remember the first few letters of the URL, that's it.
Definitely.
Going
yeah.
navigating is very important, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So when you have action items, let's say for the future when you have your own products, so what would you plan to do now or in the future to ensure good usability of your gateway? And really, what comes into your mind? Let's say you have to improve the UC website, improve the repository. We talked about the five, not options, the 5 features for usability, like learnability, efficiency, memorability. So what comes first to your mind? What would you do now differently if you would be responsible for the product? Let's say for the repository.
Well, I guess I would try to consider how people find things and try to set up multiple ways for them to find things. I mean, the search bar is there, the faceting is there, but it's not as intuitive how some of the faceting works. So I would try to set up other ways of accessing the information if I could.
Yeah. Cool. What would you do for your own product? It doesn't have to be an example from the last 20 minutes. What would you maybe think about before you offer something to a user.
I think, like you suggested, that there are 2 clicks over there
Yeah.
in your extended development. So things where people are going to fill in the forms or something, it should be on the front, on the home page, so that people can just go and look at it. They don't have to go deeper into the website. So that would be.
Okay.
I think it's hard because, I mean, you look at something like the UC website, I mean, there's so many directions you can go. It's almost impossible if you just took a couple examples of people on their tasks, because we all have different tasks that we want users to accomplish. So I think coming from like a higher level, it's really complicated to be able to make it user-friendly for everyone. So maybe prioritizing the most common users and not necessarily worrying that one group. It depends on what tasks you look at, I guess. But yeah, trying to prioritize the utilitarian approach, I guess. You know, the most users, the easiest way, I guess.
Get to know your target community and the main target community, because I fully agree, it's difficult to make it for everyone the right thing. Definitely. I mean, as I said, people think differently. So Amy said, oh, I'm always scrolling now to the bottom anyway. I'm someone who's always looking at the top first, because that's directly on my screen. That is what I'm doing. And I worked for years like that. But that doesn't mean that it's just a different way. So that only means, yeah, if I recognize that my target community, everyone scrolls first to the bottom, I should have everything at the bottom. And I should maybe not put too much emphasis on the top anymore. And a lot of websites do that now with the contact forms, because they are all at the bottom instead of on the top. So what would you consider for your?
Well, it's like I just mentioned, if you've got navigation, just put it in one place, because once you've found your navigation, you don't think, oh, I need to go to a second or third place to find more navigation units. It's like having a steering wheel in the front seat and the back seat. It's like, well, which one do I use?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. It's nice. And even if it's not the place, I think that is really also some experience. Even if the navigation is not at the place people expect it directly. I mean, it's good to have a couple of things how people expect them, but if you can choose, for example, you prefer the bottom and instead of the top, then just put it in the bottom, but only there, and not half of. I think the problem is often that half of the menus is then at another place, and you expect then to have all features if you have navigation. So what would you do differently?
Yeah, no, I think to be able to search, because people are used to that. They go to Google and they type in words even when they don't know which words they're trying to speak. So but it is hard. I work with our web people and even UC.edu. The purpose of our website is marketing to potential students. So it's not even resources for people already within us. I mean, but when you don't know that, you think a website has a different purpose. But so I'm always trying to put resources for researchers, and they're like, well, who needs that? Because it's not actually for prospective students. I'm like, we can't run, I don't know, we have to run our business inside too. So I find all the time, I really hate dealing with our web people, actually.
And the library's workaround is to create alternative sites.
WordPress and
We
your
have
own
WordPress, we have
sidewalks and
LibGuides,
stuff like that.
and we just bypass the website altogether when we can.
And accessibility is a hammer coming down too now with videos that I want to put on, and they're like, well, hasn't passed the assessment. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? These are coming from other higher education institutions. So there's just a lot of higher education weird rules.
Yeah.
Just pause there.
No, maybe the point is also what I probably then don't get. I get that there's one main target group for the website, but why not having this one menu that brings you to the internal website where people can say, oh, this is for employees or faculty or research or that would be only one navigation further, and then it just goes to another page. What is the point?
But workflow tools are obviously different too.
Oh yes.
Than just web pages.
Oh yeah.
So I think that does need more, usability thought behind it.
Definitely. I mean, I've shown Galaxy a little bit. I think that this drag and drop and that you can connect them directly with the mouse, that's fantastic for a lot of people. That they directly see that is the title of the tool, this is, you don't, when you are not the administrator, you don't have to care about the back end, what kinds of resources are behind it. You log in once and then you have it. So I think Galaxy has done a lot of things really good. And it has also, a couple of things where it has some drawbacks. But I mean, usability, I think Galaxy got also so big because they have really a fantastic community engagement team. Not only reaching out to people, but that they have experts sitting in the hotline, in the support team, who are really domain researchers, who can answer questions about the different tools in the portal. So that is something to consider also for a Science Gateway. So if you want some incubator consulting from the institute, there's really user needs research. So Paul Parsons is our professor for usability and user experience testing. He is at Purdue, and he gives really human interaction classes, human computer interaction classes, and usability testing classes. He has a couple of students working on projects. So if you would, for example, apply for a project for yourself at the institute, could be that, so he's advising the PhD graduate students, and they would work with you to improve your site and make suggestions in collaboration with you. So that is one of the possibilities. And he always would be advising, and always look with them over that. So this were the books I mentioned in the generic overview already. So Steve Group, I mean, don't make me think. I really have seen the book without knowing then what it's about. I only thought I have to read this. Don't make me think what is that. And it's really good. It's really about intuition for web applications and design. He has also some official research in there, but it's mostly really about how people work. How do you expect, and how can you check, let's say with 10 minutes, 15 minutes a week, whether it's really good, at least for a group of people. So that works. So these books are really good and entertaining. And so the next time, if you create a gateway or your software, also honestly, in general for research software, if it's better usable, it doesn't have to be always a user interface. But if you have research software, someone is using it. Even if you put it in a command line or it's a script, you use a Jupyter or whatever it is, to make it easier to use and easier to learn what it's doing with options that users can achieve satisfaction, are efficient in learning how to use it, and recover from the error. So these are really the 5 items to be considered on that was my usability section. So I know I still have 50 minutes. We can do more usability testing. We can discuss more different products. It was, normally I need a little bit longer for the session around eBirds. So my candidates were too fast. And you can imagine it creates also more discussion then when more people are, yeah. But, so, are there any questions? I mean, yeah, there are good books to maybe read about it. I can send you more material. If you have something upcoming, you can also apply at the Science Gateway Institute. So that would be other one.
So I will mention that the books, we actually have them in the UC library. I checked.
Oh, really?
The
That's good.
the 2006 and 2014 versions. I guess just so you offer these different ways of engagement, webinars, annual conference, the boot camp, and then student-focused programs.
Yeah.
Could you just talk a little bit about those efforts and?
Of course.
I guess if a student wanted to go to something, is there funding for them, or how would they? I mean, it's a summer program, or
It's a internship program, so they can go to conferences. They get funding for that. For example, we offered at Perk hackathons of 2 days, where they could, have for 2 days really an introduction to science gateways, a little bit hands-on experience with smaller software packages. They would get the whole funding for it, but also full internships of a couple of weeks, like summer programs between their classes, that they can be part of a Science Gateway project that would be paid with travel and housing things. We also thought about summer schools. I think the summer schools are taking place at the moment in collaboration with the Molecular Simulation Institute. They got the funding also 2 years ago at the same time. So the Science Gateway Institute and the Molecular Simulation Institute were the first two ones which were funded by NFS for 5 years. And they have really also real summer schools in that regard, that people can learn programming of a different kind and best practices about programming, or maybe also more about, because it's together with the Molecular Simulation Institute, more about the chemistry behind methods and how to set up molecular simulations, how to visualize what kind of editors are there. So students can reach out directly to this area, and Linda Hayden is our PI for that, and she's in that regard really, she's brilliant with students and setting up possibilities, so students can directly just contact her. That should work. The extended developer support would work in a way if you apply with your project, let's say with a paragraph, it's like a little bit explaining what it is about, what you would like to see, and then it would go to one of the PIs, and you would have a first conversation to understand more, because a paragraph is normally not enough to understand what's really going on.
right?
So there would be a telephone call quite fast, and then the next idea would be, okay, what kind of developer support it will be. And but that goes similar also with the incubator. There will be a phone call, and then there will be a work plan. And the developer support up to 1 year, but always in collaboration, questions back and forth, and also not that the people, disappear for 3 or 4 months, just do something and come back with, oh, I've done this for you, I'm finished. No, it's an ongoing interaction then, whether it looks the way you would like to look and feel, whether it has a feature, whether everyone understood it the right way, and so it would be always with, let's say milestones and deadlines, and that there's always feedback and a chance to interact in the case that something goes in a direction that was differently envisioned. or just maybe something changed also. You know, after 3 months, like, oh, no, maybe we need this different. And that happens also. So this is, and incubator would be really up to 3 months involvement of experts like usability, security, whether you want someone help you with sustainability of your project, or have an impact analytics, or help with marketing of getting the word out to your colleagues at your university. So we have about up to 10 specialists for different functions.
I'm trying to look where it says incubator on your website. Is that would just be under?
And services also, it's also a service area, yes. The incubator is the special, the experts on demand, yeah. If you don't find it, I tell it directly our web designer. So, and community engagement, if something is there where you think, oh, that would be interesting, I would love to give a webinar about that to get the word out. So it's a monthly webinar where you can ask whether, you know. Or you can, also, of course, come to our yearly conference, or invite us to speak at your university.
Well, we have data day coming up. That might be an interesting to think about if that would fit. Do you also? So I'm exploring the website while we're sitting here, and just like, so the Science Gateway catalog would be where, I mean, all of these gateways that you're talking about. Do you prioritize over, like, for more open source, or does it matter, or do you have a way of indicating, like, some of the examples that you presented were trial is free, but then it's a for-fee service afterwards, and is that any way indicated here on the catalog of gateways?
I think we wanted to add it as a category. I'm not sure whether it's already added, but I could look that up.
Because I see CodeOcean is here, and I mean, CodeOcean is free to a certain level, but if you want the full compute power, then you have to pay. But I don't see it indicated that it's a for-fee.
No, we probably should do it. I mean, for us, it's we are mostly, for us it's in academia often more interesting to work with the open source ones, because often departments don't have the money for, having additional license costs. On the other side, something like CodeOcean is a good tool. And if somebody or a group can afford it, I wouldn't take it out, but it should have something, a category or something. I agree fully to that. So, and since everyone can add their own tools without that we are, at the moment we have no restrictions about that. What we want to do in the future is that they're going more checking algorithms through it, that every URL also has to work still. Because some came in the catalog like a year ago, and I would assume that most of them are still at the same URL, but that is an assumption. So we need more automatic checking, and what we also would like to do automatically, because we cannot be responsible for all the software behind it. That are the teams developing that. But still, what we would like to do is that if you are interested in a Science Gateway, that you can spin up a small instance of it and have a look whether, the look and feel, the handling is okay. Maybe with a small example data set or something. So, because it's always different if you see something already and don't only have the description, maybe a website where it's like, oh, and now, you can, now you have to have a login, or you have to have something additionally. So it would be good. We want to have more features with the catalog, more automatic features, that people can get a better impression. And that it's also really checked whether all the URLs are still working. Otherwise, that it's like, oops, this is not working, so that an email goes to the one who, is responsible for it at least. that something is not, because to have a catalog is great, but if 10% maybe is not working in a catalog, then people get also annoyed. That, because it doesn't help when half of the URLs are not there. So 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 workforce, I think, I talked now about our 5 areas, So, and also with the software collaborative, we cannot offer like a huge hosting effort that we just don't have the resources for it, but we have collaborations with Exceed and Jetstream, and in that regard it would be also possible to have maybe more resources in collaboration with the Science Gateway Institute. But we ourselves don't have hardware resources at a large scale. We have at a small scale, yes, but not. We cannot offer for free for the whole US to run HPC jobs. So but it's more about the consulting and helping people to create the solutions. But we are not starting to host the solutions. That would be too much probably.
I was curious, so while we were sitting here talking, I was trying to sign up for the CyberGIS, the sandbox gateway.
Yeah.
Well, one, I couldn't sign up, it wouldn't let me. But it's very hard to tell what is actually happening until you log in. And I'm reading these descriptions and it sounds great, but I don't really know exactly what the interface and what the potential, and maybe that's what you were just saying. I was hoping to sign up right now so I could log in and maybe show everybody one of these. I don't know if anybody has looked at any of these science gateways yet. Because before I came in this morning, I didn't really know of any of these. But it'd be nice to see an example of like either a fake data set or something to see the actual process that runs behind the scenes. And that's what I was trying to do, but unfortunately, it wouldn't accept my registration information. So.
Okay.
Did you do the Galaxy for them, or just earlier?
So I didn't do the Galaxy yet. You haven't seen the Galaxy. I can do the Galaxy again.
CyberGIS.
So the CyberGIS, so I took it also in because I still had an account. I don't know whether, that is the other thing. It's maybe even not that there are more restrictions, that it's just a bug at the moment.
I think it's maybe their server or something, because the error wasn't even spelled correctly.
Oh, okay.
So I think there's maybe some issues going on behind the scenes. Maybe it's my computer isn't secure and it won't let me even log into their system. I'm not sure, but.
No, I wanted to say because that I tried, that I still could create an account and that looked good. So, but I tried it a week ago, so.
Yeah.
Not
it's just
today.
the one that I'm probably most interested in would be the CyberGIS one.
Okay.
So that's why I wanted to look at it, and some of these workflows look great, but a picture, a fake kind of generic picture and a couple sentences is not enough for me to understand, should I even continue to search? You're talking about usability. Well, at this point, if I wasn't actively trying to experiment, I'd probably shut this down and move on. So I think that that's something that they should, look into, is how to entice me to sign up for an account. Because right now, it sounds great, okay? Do they have data that I can use? I don't know.
That is exactly the point. I think what is really still missing, and I understand also that not all science gateways can accept, every user, or that they have restrictions for some data or whatever. It shouldn't be nicer is it when it's all open. But normally the science gateways, the examples I had here, at least allow you to create an account. How much resources you can really then use in the background, it's depends probably on whether you have an Exceed account or things like that. But at least you can sign up and see more. Because now you don't know what is really happening.
I would be like a bounce rate, right? Because this has now become more frustrating than helpful.
Exactly. No, that is the other thing where I think that the Institute can really help, in like, okay, if you announce something like in URL, then something has to be possible there. If you have a registering account URL on your science gateway, then it should work. And maybe it's really only today a
Could
problem.
be. Yeah, I mean, I'll hold my judgment for a little bit.
Yeah, maybe.
It's a very nice website. It's very well made and very, kind of user friendly up front. But, as somebody, I think you're enticing researchers, right? You're not enticing, like for the UC webpage, you're enticing students
Right.
to get excited.
Yeah.
But
Right.
this one should be researchers doing high level research.
Yeah.
So you need to make it a little bit more, I don't know, maybe less pretty and more functional.
Yeah. Let's say
If you have
you
to
don't
pick-
have to give up the prettiness if it's functional.
Yeah.
No, I fully agree. So, yeah, to give one short, totally different impression of a science gateway would be Galaxy. And Galaxy looks here like this. You have on the left side, you have all the different tools which an administrator has to configure. And you can have your own workflows. In the middle are your workflows are information about your tools. And on the right side, you have the output of jobs you have run. And if it's green, then you have everything was fine and you get your output data. So that is, for example, let's go on text manipulation. So you see, if I select one of the tools, you see the parameters here, and then you can execute it. What a lot of people are really using is also the workflow option. And I have, for example, a conversion workflow. The conversion workflow is a very simple workflow, only with 3 steps. And I can only connect really these jobs with each other, and these are all tools which are on the left-hand side. I can only connect them with each other if this output fits also to this input. So let's say errors like that are avoided in Galaxy, that users cannot. I can show it to you, for example. Let me try to connect this to this one. It won't work. I can disconnect these again. Let me do it. So I can disconnect these, try this again. There's no chance. Galaxy doesn't let me do it because it's not the right. Here it is fast queue and it expects a tabular input, which is nice for the user, but I can connect this again. And what happens when I say save? It saves my workflow and I can run it. And then it shows me again my different jobs which are in there and what kind of parameters I have. And now I say run workflow. And now it adds, so these are still waiting. They're in gray. And there has this clock here, and this is now running in yellow. And you can see it just enumerates the different tasks. And what is nice about Galaxy, you can exchange all the different workflows between the user community, because the problem you won't have in Galaxy is that since if you're in the same Galaxy instance, every user has the same tools. So there cannot be a missing configuration or something. If you work in a Galaxy instance and you want to share something with Brad or Amy and they are in the same Galaxy instance, you can share all these workflows with each other and they will work. If it works for one user, it works also for the next. What Galaxy, and you can see here, for example, you can view the data. So this is a biomedical genomic sequence, and you can edit the attributes, how to set the data set, how to save it. You can convert it to different locations. You can change the data type. You can work on permission. So there's a lot of nice options here to work with results, and also to put it in the history and what you can see here. So I did a couple of different jobs, and I have all the, in my history here on the right side, I can see all the different data, and also from the different tools in between, not only the end result. But I can also delete them, so it's not like I can get rid of a couple of those to clean up my history. So this is, the visualization still needs some more options. So visualizing really, except for monitoring, is still not so sophisticated in Galaxy. But you can share data, and you can have, for example, data libraries. Like these 1,000 genomes is for this instance, because it's a biomedical instance, very suitable. And then you see the different data files. And since it's in the libraries, in the shared data, every user can see it. You can, your private data in your history you can keep for yourself, but you also can share this. You can export it to shared data. So you see also the different, so you could share histories here. For example, these are the users who have shared their histories with the whole community here. Which is very helpful if you're in a community working on similar problems and you have run maybe jobs for a couple of hours. So then they can share it here. And how it really, how descriptive the tools is, that you know what they're doing and everything, is really dependent. Galaxy gives the options to put a lot of explanation here. As you can see, if an author of a tool give examples, the user can look it up. But this is really dependent on how someone who integrates the tool, how extensive they want to document. But there are all these possibilities. And it's nice that you can have the pre-configuration of parameters, so if there's always something like a default, you can have it already in the user interface. And the users don't have to care, especially if they might be inexperienced first, they can just start with default values. Like, you can do it here also in command line, but this shows you also at least whether something is a default or not. So that is a totally different science gateway, but also really majorly used, especially in the biomedical community. I think with over 1 million users also worldwide. And that is because, this drag and drop and being able to just click workflows together is really beneficial. And the visualization or a couple of things could be improved. Galaxy has also a problem with big data, with large data, too large data sets. When it comes to petabyte and things, then there's a problem. But for, let's say, the normal size of gigabytes, it's really good for sharing and creating workflows. So as you can see, this is totally different. But they do a great job that you can do the usegalaxy.org and you see how it looks like, without even that you have an account. And if you create an account, you can directly even submit the workflow.
This is what I expected from the CyberGIS. It's a little bit more technical, a little bit harder when you first log on to use Galaxy, but you see what it can do right away. And I think that's really important.
I think so too. I mean, it's really, and they have a lot of small, tutorials, and they have videos about the usage. They're very community oriented in that way. For kind of, it's a little bit more technical, not as pretty, let's say, as some other interfaces, but with the drag and drop, people fast realize how easy it is to put a workflow together, that they just can start the tools. They click on a tool and they can just start a tool. So that's, I think that makes a lot of sense. So if we go, for example, it just directly opens, a window and you can just do something. Yeah. So, and what is nice about this is that the full control of everything in the back end, like connections to different infrastructures on campus or it's all done by the administrator. The user doesn't have to care about that at all. So, and they don't see it. So this is really, also it's not only used in the biomedical community, it's the largest community, but I think there's now one geospatial portal in Galaxy where they integrated tools for geospatial analysis. Because the logic is still, you have on the left side the tools, you can directly start tools, or you can create your workflows, and you have always on the right side your data files. So that's, it has a lot of strengths, but it has also some minor shortcomings. Galaxy. And therefore I say, I think really in 5 to 10 years we will have 7, 8, 9 science gateways frameworks left, which are really mature and have their strengths and bulky, and then you choose it according to the community you serve at that point. Any further questions? So then, thank you very much for listening to me and having me here.
Thank you.